Hello guys, today we are going to go over a tutorial on how to create an automation rule. So automation rules are basically an automated way of applying classifications to your ledger. So in this example, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use a criteria from the transaction tags. So you see here, these are all different transaction tags. You can use transaction tags as a rule criteria. So I'm going to go ahead and use the fees tag as a rule criteria for my automation rule. So let's go to the automations page, and I'll show you how to do this. So in your automations page, you're going to want to click on classification automation, the blue button here, and you have to decide if you want to use portfolio or connection level. So if you're doing a connection level automation rule, you can select one or more connections within your portfolio to apply the rule to. In my case, I'm only going to apply the rule based on a single tag criteria. So I'm going to not care about what specific connection it applies to. I'm going to go with portfolio wide. Now you want to name your automation rule. So I'm going to say gas fees in this case. Or I can just say fees, for example, because it could be different chains. And I'm going to go with next and criteria 1. So you can select any of these different criteria options as a criteria for how the system will apply the rule. So for example, if you want to track NFT royalties or staking income automatically, you would want to track the contract address. You can track multiple criteria options. So I can say, okay, transaction type receive, and I can pair it with, for example, the contract address for staking income classification to automate that process. But in my case, because I'm going to use the tags is a very intuitive feature of Cryptoworth because you can actually just use any of these tags that are already automated in the ledger, and you can use these tags for your rules. So I'm going to go with fees, and what I basically want the system to do is to classify all the fees, all the transactions that are tagged as fees as a fee classification. So I'm going to go ahead and select classification from this drop down and then fees. So this is coming out of my chart of accounts. I'm going to choose fees. Now, if I wanted to add a label automatically to the fees that I'm classifying automatically here with this rule, I can actually add a label for my library, or I can create one and then add it here. So that way it could apply the rule, the classification, and apply a label at the same time. But in my example here, I'm not going to work with the label. I'm just going to do the automation for the classification of fees. So I'm going to go ahead and click next and confirm. All right, perfect. So the next time your wallet sync, it'll apply the rule. So the last step is to go to your data connections and then sync all. So the minute your connections are done syncing, what's going to happen is in your transactions ledger, let's go to a fee transaction quickly. So you see here, all these different fees don't have any classifications. So the moment these wallets are done syncing, you see they're syncing pretty quickly. In a moment, we're going to be able to see that the same fee tagged transactions are going to now have the fees classification. So let's see if we can show you the example. It might take, there we go. So we're already seeing this in the ledger. So anything with a fees tag is getting automatically classified as fees. And that is how you can set up an automation rule.